afternoon. This is Carlene Thomas from Reggae Global. And if you were listening to the radio station today, or yesterday, or the day before, we've been advertising that we'll be doing an interview with Marlon Amlak, and we'll be talking about that situation. If you are current with the news, you would have heard that a young lady, a 19-year-old Rastafarian, while in lockup at a police station in Jamaica, while in custody, her locks were trimmed by a police officer. And of course, these are the allegations. So we will have to say that until this is proven the case, we will just say these are the allegations. But for something to such of this nature to happen, then it is definitely worth a discussion. Now, Jamaica is just coming out of its independence and emancipation celebrations. We've just done excellently at the Olympic Games, and so we're just of pain of heart then, for lack of a better term. A lot of Jamaicans are hurting as a result. Hey Marlon, could you just request to join the live for me, please, so that we can start our discussion? Excellent. Hey Marlon.
Hey, what's up?
I am good. How is everything going?
Apparently it's not going too well.
Not going too well? Well,
You
we know
know,
it's not going well based on what we're going to talk about, but it's
exactly.
asking how you are doing, and your family.
Yeah, I mean, we're all right, but as they say in Jamaica, you touch one away, you touch all away.
Most definitely agree with you. All right, so with me is Marlon Amlak. Marlon, can you just tell the audience who you are, where you are, and what you do?
Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah, man, clearly.
Okay. Yeah, my name is Marlon Amlak. I represent Aluta Continua, a band that was started in the 2000s. Back then, believe it or not, it's 20 odd years now. And there are some people that would remember Revolution or single that played on heavy rotation. And it's so funny that back then in 2002, when we released the video, playing on RETV and JBC and these stations,
Uh-huh.
now we're back in the same cycle, Revolution.
Mm.
You
Mm-hmm.
know, the verse started because wrong is reigning, the innocent suffer.
Mm-hmm.
That's the first verse of the song.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And we're here back where wrong is reigning and the innocent is suffering.
Wow, those lyrics are always relevant, always current. Unfortunately, we would have hoped that, with time we would have been able to make certain strides in the right direction, but as evidence would have it, that's not the case. So what we're going to talk about today, because we have limited time,
Mm-hmm.
is the 19-year-old Nzinga King, who
Yes.
was brought in custody at the Four Paths police station in Clarendon in Jamaica, and her
I
lock
just saw I
trimmed.
just saw a video of
Mm-hmm.
an elder saying that the reports of her cutting her own hair is a sham because if it were so, the police lady who is accused would have come out and denied it. The
I agree with that.
commissioner,
Mm-hmm.
the commissioner would quickly come out and deny it. I understand that there was supposed to be a report last Friday,
Mm-hmm.
and no report was published. So if she had cut her own hair, the commissioner would have, that would be a simple task.
Yeah, and
The
honestly,
fact,
Marlon, I didn't plan to mention it because if she had cut her own hair, why do it at the police station? Because when her mother got there, she barely recognized her child. She didn't even know it was her child because her hair was missing.
exactly. And these kids, they're gonna cut their own hair. They go on YouTube and they find out how to do it, and they would have put a little hairstyle in it or something.
Right, not
The
just
way in Jamaica, the way they say, oh, the chamba. The
that's the
chamba
best
chamba
description.
are here.
Hmm.
That's not something that you do to yourself. And it even goes even further where they say that she wasn't allowed female um,
Hmm.
things
Hmm.
because it was her time.
All right.
And the
Hold on a
police,
second there, Marlon.
that,
Before we get to
okay,
that,
go ahead. Go ahead.
I want to just
Hmm.
give a background, give the background information to what really happened and how Nzinga ended up in police custody for people who are watching or who will be watching the replay. So on June 29, she was in a taxi, and apparently the police stopped the taxi because someone wasn't wearing a mask. So the person was not complying with the police officers. And so eventually the police decided to use pepper spray in the taxi. She had an issue with that because she could not breathe. So she came out of the taxi, eventually took off her mask because she said she had difficulty breathing. They then turned to her because she was acting up, showing her disagreement for what was happening. They then turned to her and said she's not wearing a mask, and so she will be charged as well for not wearing a mask. So days later, then she went to court. She was told that she was not actually charged for disobeying the COVID-19 protocol, but because of disorderly conduct in her response to the police officers. So then she was told that she needed to pay $6,000. Didn't have it at the time. Of course, she needed to go into lockup for that until the money was forthcoming. So that happened on July 22nd. So it is within that time between July 22nd and July 26th that all this happened.
The funny thing about that, July 23rd is the birthday of Haile Selassie.
Look at that.
So we are locking up a Rasta girl, a Rasta woman, which represents Empress Menen, His
Mhm.
Majesty's wife, on his birthday. And so there is no idea. Remember, the Jamaica Constabulary Force was on hand when Haile Selassie came, and they paid due protocol. So if they paid due protocol to the king when he arrived, and you have a young lady representing this community, they should be sensitive. First of all, she's a human being. She's a child.
First and
She,
foremost, yes.
you know what I'm saying? She don't have to be a Rasta. She don't have to be. All she have to be is a Jamaican citizen. The crown that is worn on the hat of the police and the pips that are on their shoulders represent the government, which represents us. That means she's working for us. And imagine somebody come to your job, throw you in a room, and lock you up for 3 days, and say that you cannot see your mother, you cannot get your female delicates that you
Right, yeah,
need.
because it was that time of month for her, and she did mention that to the police officer.
And
She was
and
not
and
giving her what she
no,
needed.
1 second, don't mean to cut you.
Hmm.
The whole thing of protesting, it is in the Constitution, and it was also amended that Jamaicans have the right to protest.
Hmm. Yes.
And so if she is protesting against the police to say that's not how you behave with citizens, the taxi driver has to have a driver's license, which you pay tax on. The car that is there, that is license, car license, you pay tax. All of that money goes into the budget for Jamaica. So this taximan, he deserves, at least if he's talking back, Jamaican people talk back all the time. That's just how we are. You don't pepper spray. That doesn't warrant pepper spray. And so therefore she has all right to protest, to say that is not how you deal with a citizen,
Hmm.
a tax-paying citizen who is trying to work for their bread. That is ridiculous.
And asking you a question now. All right, to the officer that is alleged to have done the cutting of her hair, the young lady explained to her that this is not a style. This is my religion. This is my culture. This has been my hair has been this way, waist length, since I was a child, since I've known myself. The officer responded to say she doesn't care. She leaves her heart at the door when she comes to work.
The
What do you think
problem
about
is
that? What are your thoughts on that response?
I think a lot of the Jamaican police do not know the Constitution of Jamaica. The Constitution was given 1962 and it was amended. And the amendment that it was given was particularly about the right of religion, the right of protest. It was particular. We are signatory with England and Canada specifically for human rights. And this amendment took place after the year 2000. So we need to educate before the police are released from the academy the rights of the citizen. Because one, right now, these parents can sue Jamaica Constabulary, thus Jamaica government, for infringing upon the rights of this young lady. Remember also, she's above 18. So she's a voting citizen. She's not just a 16 or a 15-year-old. She's a voting citizen, right? And so all rights of the Constitution apply to this young lady. I have the statute somewhere. I'd have to go and actually look for it. Because we were speaking to someone who was also abused. The fact that she went to court and the judge sentenced her without due process, come on, I think that judge should be sent out. We are taking too many blows, not just as Rastas, but as Jamaican citizens.
Right. I want to mention two things too, because you mentioned the government, and I want to just kind of quickly go through what Minister Grange said. She is the Minister of Culture, Gender, Entertainment and Sport in Jamaica. She said if the allegation is true, it would be a gross violation of the young woman's human rights and very serious disrespect to her sacred religious practices. It is wrong for any person to forcibly cut the hair of another person or discriminate or deny services because of how a person wears his or her hair. I await the Commissioner's investigation and the actions that will follow. And down to the end, she says she agrees with General Anderson, that's the Commissioner of Police, that any police officer who in 2021 would violate any person's rights in this way would not be suitable to continue as a policeman or a woman.
There you have it. There you have it. Honorable Babsy Grange is actually citing the Constitution and the amendment in the Constitution for human rights. She's actually citing it. And she is augmenting what the commissioner is saying, because he's a commissioner. He is the last buck. The buck stops with him with the behavior of police, the constabulary, as they are called.
Right.
So unless the policewoman don't understand her job or her job description, the only thing that I can say is that I do not believe that the Constitution or just that part of the Constitution is taught to police officers. And so the rights of the citizen, I think, must be taught. It must be stressed that, yes, you are here to do a job and you are here to defend peace and safety in the community. But at the same time, the rights of the citizen must be observed.
Right. And quickly, just want to mention two things. Her mother said, yes, we are visible, so you can't stop us, but we need to be respected. And her father, Anthony King, made a reference to the Coral Gardens massacre and said it is a religious war. But it is just ironic how Bob Marley and entire Marley family, among other entertainers, other people who have solidified Jamaica's culture internationally, but yet within Jamaica, it seems like this group is not respected. What do you think has caused that?
A prophet is never honored in his own town. You know who said that?
Yes.
Who?
Jesus said that.
Okay.
So
Okay, so
we have come
if
to see
Christ,
that live
if
out in our own little island of Jamaica, which is unfortunate. Huh?
if Christ himself can say that and go on the cross, just imagine this 19-year-old girl who spoke up for her rights and the rights of her fellow citizens. But she was, in a sense, she was defending the driver.
Or the other passenger. I think it was a passenger who had the issue. Right.
Yeah, but she was saying the pepper spray itself was not warranted.
Right. Yes.
And also it wasn't applicable in that situation where you have other people, because it's a spray. So it's not like you go in a straight line. It sprays out. You know what I'm saying? So she rightfully protested. And this is, you know, the thing about Christ, there's a whole argument about Christ and, you know, Christ die and resurrect and all of that. But the bottom line about Christ is that an innocent was chastised, and we cannot stand by and watch the innocent be chastised. That's the whole point about Christ. And so if our society, our entire society, the community of Rastafari, the Christians, the Muslims, if they will all stand by and watch this innocent girl, she should never have been charged $6,000. The judge should never have said that she is guilty for protesting her human right and protesting for the other citizens that were in the car. What kind of a society, and this is what Christ was showing, what kind of a society will allow the innocent to be charged? And we are just, as Bob Marley said, how long shall they kill our prophets while we stand aside and look? We cannot go on like this. I mean, I could go on and go on, but the basic, what we're talking about is the basic human right, of which a lot of people don't know that Haile Selassie was one of the signatories for the United Nations Charter for Human Rights from 1948. So even the human right that she was standing up for was also authorized by Haile Selassie.
Right. All right. Quickly though, again to close out. What the way forward? What do you see happening, or what do you hope will happen going forward for Jamaica as it relates to
The
relationship with
whole
Rastafarians?
citizen, the first thing I said is you touch one away, you touch all away. The whole citizenry of Jamaica should stand up for this girl. As I said, people stood up while Christ was crucified. How many people was there in Halfway Tree in solidarity for this little girl? We have to shut down, as Paul Bogle did. We have, and Sam Sharp, we have to shut down the whole system until we get justice in our own country. Not to stray, but look at the cockpit country and the Maroons, where this bauxite company is, and no one, we protest, nothing. And the Prime Minister is saying that we shouldn't say that he's supporting people taking over our bauxite. You can't, if you tear down the hill, we cannot get water. That's how water works. The hills catch the water and then it comes down into the valleys where we live. If you bulldozer and take out the bauxite, you see what happened with the Red Lake? That's what will happen to the rest of the country. Those companies don't care about us. And so to tie it in, the police is saying that she leave her political views at the door when she walk in and she start work. But she
leave
is
her heart.
doing,
She leave her heart at the door.
yeah, basically that's what that means, because you cannot physically leave your heart at the door,
But
right?
leaving all emotions and everything else. I understand
Yes,
what you mean.
but in the law, she must know that as a police, there is, when you're on the spot, you can be judge, jury, and executioner. So therefore, you must have conscience. And it is in the law. She can't, I don't know, these people aren't being trained or what? It is in the law that you must have conscience on the spot. If there's a 12-year-old that steal crackers because she's hungry, you don't have to carry her in the station. So she can talk that and say, you know, she have to do this and she have to do that. No, she didn't have to. It is up to her conscience. Her handbook says this in the constabulary. So when she speak, unless she never read the handbook or she didn't pass the test, but on top of that, the Constitution must be taught to the constabulary.
How do you feel about it coming right after Jamaica has celebrated emancipation and independence and coming out of such glorious performances at the Olympics?
Gross. It's gross. It is gross. It is stomach churning. I grew up from the 70s, right? We used to say good morning, good evening. You know, we see a little child crossing the road, we help the child or the old woman. We have lost our moral compass. And the police is just a representation. She grew up the same way. She is just a representation of where we are in Jamaica, and it is disgusting. We need to remember who we are. The black on the flag says hardships there may, but the green of the earth and the sunshine that come down give us a little chance. So as Bob Marley said, let us put hands in hearts and fight this struggle for progress. Progress would mean that when she stopped the taxi man, she knows the man also. Right? I'm going to give you, you know, in America, they actually write up a ticket that is a chance. There is a ticket. There is a ticket that says, I'm giving you a warning. And that ticket is actually put in the system. So the next time a police stop you and they go into the system, they see that you're given a chance. He can now decide if he's going to give you another chance or he's going to give you a ticket or a higher ticket. So where is the conscience?
All right, that we will have to answer possibly in another interview another day. We have run out of time on Reggae Global for today. And then I just want to just mention, just because we were talking about it previously, about a gentleman who was hospitalized at University Hospital of the West Indies, and his beard was also trimmed, a Rastafarian as well. His beard was trimmed like this as well.
Irons.
Right, yes. And just about a year ago, Jamaica Supreme Court upheld a ruling that a child of primary school age should not be allowed to attend the school because of her locks. So it's a far way for Jamaica to go. In the past, we've said we've come a far way, but we really still have even further to go. So happy to talk to you. Much more to say, but we are out of time, and I appreciate you making the time for me to talk to you about this. I appreciate your views. And
Aluta continue, the struggle continues.
The struggle continues. The struggle continues. Sad but true. And your song Place of Peace was just played on Reggae Global, so listeners can hear more from Marlon Aluta Continua on Reggae Global. If you listen to Reggae Global 247 online. Thank you again, Marlon.